Alright, how's it going? We're back. We're back on the grind, alright? The story time grind is gonna continue. Anyways, today we got some disgusting, absolutely repulsive stories. So sit back, relax, maybe don't grab something to eat for this one, and let's get right into it. So in this first story, it starts during 2020 when school was in lockdown and everything was done during Zoom. Now, it really wasn't that bad at first because people didn't really know what the fuck they were doing, and it was just like people were trying to learn how to use it properly and stuff like that. Nobody was pulling some crazy ass stunts and shit, but a couple months go by and now the subscriber, we'll call him Jordan for the video, he's starting the 10th grade. And he had a Zoom class for world history. Now, his teacher was like 67 years old, and of course she had a hard time navigating the class, despite like them using it for like half a year at this point. But still, she's 67. Of course she's gonna have a hard time navigating technology. Like, that's just how it is. So imagine how much pressure it is on her to like watch all these people to make sure they're not doing anything stupid, and to try and navigate a Zoom class, and to try to teach a lecture. That's kind of crazy. And at this point, it was also the first day. And then maybe like about 20 minutes go by. The class is going pretty normal. She's just going through her lecture. And then out of nowhere, a kid with an Arabic name joined the class. And now everybody but her could tell what was going on. They knew somebody was like getting up to some shenanigans, pranking the teacher. But the teacher had no idea what was going on. Now this person decided to open up like their screen window or screen sharing, whatever. And they started screen sharing like a gore video. Like, it was just disgusting. I can't really say exactly what it is because obviously, you know, the subscriber wasn't looking, and you know, I'm not trying to get demonetized here, so just leave that to your imagination. Actually, you know what? Don't think about that. Obviously, nobody wanted to see that. And then people start telling the teacher, hey, somebody's playing some weird-ass video. Can you just kick them from the class? So eventually, after, you know, her trying to figure it out, she finally kicks him from the class. And the entire time, the guy just didn't say anything at all. So things were already starting off pretty bad. Like, the teacher was getting pranked, like, quite often from students in the class. And things just get juicier in November. The subscriber Jordan received an email from a guy named Jack who basically sent like a long cursing spree with a bunch of threats, and he just reported it to the administration. They were like, somebody's been spoofing our servers, like, I don't know what's going on. And this was when they were at school again, like it was like hybrid at this point, like they were doing half Zoom, half in school. And when they were back in school, he met this person that was pretty weird, all right? And we're going to call her Tracy. Now, Tracy was one of those girls that, like, wore those, like, cat headphones to school. And, yeah, she was just not showering, like, you could tell. And she would, like, draw, like, weird shit in class all the time. She was one of those, all right? Like, this was the girl that, probably was behind it all, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, just by judging, the subscriber was like, okay, this is probably the dude that's the girl that's behind everything. So the next day, this girl basically said to him, hey, do you want me to get the principal expelled? And then he's hearing this and he's like, well, what the hell does that mean? And then she pulls open her computer and she goes on like some dark web pages and types a long email. A minute later, he receives an email from his quote-unquote principal saying that he hates a certain race and that he's a part of a not-so-nice group with white pointy hats. So this girl was behind it the entire time, bro. Like, she was the one sending, like, these weird-ass emails, playing these weird-ass videos. Like, she thought she was, like, a master hacker, all right? She thought she was a A1 level prankster. She really thought she was her, all right? I mean, I guess that's another word for hit. She thought she was her, all right? She thought she was the top dog, bro. She thought she was gonna get the principal expelled. That's kind of crazy. But anyways, he decided to tell the teacher. Jordan was not letting this slide. So he's like, all right, listen. So there was this girl in class that decided to pull a prank on the principal, try to get him expelled, use some shit on the dark web, and made a fake email. And the next day, they go to class. They're in like a geometry class together. So he's sitting in class, and then all of a sudden, then he hears a knock on the door. It's like, FBI, open up, bitch! No, that didn't happen. It was a police officer knocking on the door. The teacher opens it, and he's standing there, and he's like, can I see this girl, Tracy? And he's like, yo, no way, bro. Nah, no way she's getting escorted out by the police. That is kind of crazy. But hey, you know what? I'm doing God's work out here. So she gets escorted out by the police. She is salty as hell. Like, he can see it on her face. But that's what she deserves, framing the principal like that, bro. Like, why would you pretend to be your principal and write an email about how he hates a certain race and he's a part of the group that wears all white? That is just so fucked. She genuinely deserves that. And because she spilt it to somebody, I mean, it would have got out eventually. She ended up going to juvie for 2 weeks. But after the 2 weeks go by, she is back. And better than ever, she is back in the flesh. And this time, she notices that you can do like Bluetooth on like the smartboard class, like even on like assembly grounds. And on that day, they were having an assembly. And she connects her phone to like the Bluetooth, or using the Bluetooth on the smartboard, like in the auditorium. And she decides to display a certain type of content, like as they're going through the assembly. So she decided to display furry content, not just regular furry content for adults. Yeah, it was crazy. One kid decided to like smash the smartboard because he hated it so much, and honestly, yeah, I would have intrusive thoughts about doing the same. And the kid who smashed the smartboard, he had a disability, but the principal shouted at her because she was the only one who had her phone out. Like, the principal knew that she was already going to get up to some shenanigans as soon as she got back to school. And the crazy part is that she had to pay for that smartboard. Ooh, that is tough. And she also got expelled from school at that point because the principal just had enough. So the next thing that he heard about her was 2 weeks after she got expelled. He goes on Snapchat and his friend sends her story. And apparently she wanted to do a protest outside of the school. And it was titled "Save the Furry Pack." Like, she was really trying to get back into school. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, are you trying to, get expelled again? Like, you're not going to stay back in that school, bro. That's why the principal was like, okay, there's no second chances for this person. Like, they're just gone. She really wanted to stand outside the school with, a sign. And, she really thought people were going to join her. That is crazy. Like, she just would have been the only one standing there. And everyone would have looked at her so confused. But some previous experiences he had with this girl in middle school is, she wanted, to make room for her litter box in the bathroom by bringing a hammer and just smashing toilets out of the way. And she was also expelled from that middle school, too. So it was clear that this girl was not going to change, ever. But they still let her back in the high school. I don't know. That was kind of dumb, in my opinion. And after that, he never really heard anything about her again. Now, the next story, we're going to call this girl Margaret. So now, there was a girl at the subscriber school called Margaret, right? And he went to a private school. It was like a high school. So he first met Margaret. And now, to put it bluntly, Margaret had no friends, all right? And he was just trying to be nice to her because obviously she was really desperate for friends and just trying to meet anybody that she could. So he was really doing the most trying to put up with her. They talked for a sec and, she went off about anime. And, now he personally does not like anime. And, yeah, she did not take this very well. He told her this and, he thought he was going to be oh, all right, no worries. But, bro, he got a crazy ass reaction, bro. But she was like, what? How could you not like anime, blah, blah, blah. She was actually mad. It was crazy. You never think, somebody would get that salty over somebody saying they don't like anime. That's crazy. And after that, they didn't talk for a few weeks. And this was at, the orientation for the school. And at this point, it was still summer. They had the orientation, a few weeks before summer ended. And then when school started, eventually, he found out that she was in his English class. And they had to write a story. And now this girl sat near him, and she told him that she was going to write a fanfic about 2 anime characters for their poor 80-year-old teacher to read. And holy shit, he has never read something so explicit in his entire life. They were actively going at it, in this fanfic. It was crazy. Now he skipped the next day. And now he has no idea what happened in that day that he skipped, but God knows what. This was his one skip, for the first trimester, but 1 week later, she was watching other types of videos in class. How babies are made, all right, if you catch my drift. She was really enjoying, those types of videos. And then all of a sudden, her AirPods disconnected. Yeah, it is pretty embarrassing when your AirPods disconnect and then your class starts hearing like Playboy Cardi just playing off your phone. Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing for me, bro. I'm not gonna lie. But the level of embarrassment you must have to endure when you're watching that in class. I mean, first of all, why are you even watching that in the first place? Second of all, in school? Really? Like, you can't at least wait till you get home? That's crazy. It was just so cringe to witness when those AirPods disconnected and the entire class could hear this video playing. Like, ooh, it was so bad. The subscriber's innocence literally just snapped away, bro. Like a father going to get the milk, bro. That shit was just fucking gone. And he was like, dude, there is no way this girl just pulled that. And obviously, the teacher got her in trouble, took her computer away. And after that, she never really did anything like crazy in the first trimester of like their school year. But in the second trimester of the year, they were in gym class together. Shit, I just realized the subscriber's a girl, bro. I'm a dumbass. My bad. But anyways, now they had like a locker room that had like 4 cubbies, like with lockers like lining up against the wall. Now, like, her and her other group of friends, yeah, they were in like the second cubby. And then she and her only friend were in the first cubby. Now, Margaret abused this poor girl, all right? Like, that she was, like, alone within the cubby. Like, this other girl was probably her friend because she felt bad, and she was just getting abused by this fucking Margaret girl. That is crazy. And one time, she even, like, took the subscriber shirt and just threw it across the locker room. She had to, like, run with no shirt on to go get it. And at this point, she was, like, recording the video. Like, she was recording herself changing. Like, Jesus, I don't know why. What is the appeal? I don't even understand. Like, what the fuck? Is she, like, gonna post that shit on her Snapchat story? What the fuck? Like, who wants to record themselves changing into their musty-ass gym clothes? That's crazy. Now, other than that, nothing, like, bad really happened in the second trimester. And now the third trimester came relatively quickly, and they were in the same theater class together. And on the first day of class, she immediately insults the teacher and insults the subscriber. And then she just, like, stands up into the class, and she's like, all right, guys, listen up. I'm non-binary. And by the way, I'm also in the school play. And now, like, they had to, like, figure out who was going to be in the school play, like, by doing this theater class. And she just had a crazy-ass ego. Like, she really thought she was the GOAT or some shit. Now, she was probably just expecting everybody to clap, like her announcing that she's non-binary in front of the class. And then everybody just looked around in confusion. Like, nobody clapped, nothing. Because, like, who does that? Who the fuck just stands up in the front of the class and just announces that to everybody? So, obviously, nobody clapped, and they kind of just sat there in confusion. And, of course, like, in this class, this girl had a habit of, a very weird habit. Like, she was like all in her her crack, okay? Digging for gold, if you catch the drift. She was just sitting there and she just could not stop the grind, you know? It was a crazy grind set. One time their teacher wasn't there and they didn't have a sub. She wanted to go get a teacher, but then this girl slapped her and started cussing her out and then just stormed away. Just decided to, like, play games on their computer and, like, whatever, board games and shit like that, like, while she was gone. And then this girl, Margaret, just kept cussing everybody out and just yelling at the class for no reason. And then, like, as she got up at the class and, like, was, like, cursing everybody out, she, like, announced to the class that, like, we should all do a furry roleplay or a family roleplay. And they were just, like, all looking at each other like, what the hell? Like, what are you talking about? I mean, we don't got a teacher, bro. We got freedom. And the one thing you want to do is a furry or family role play. That is crazy. So at this point, she's scared. She doesn't know what to do. And like a week ago, like, she was digging in the crack. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, come on, bro. She was really digging for buried treasure, bro. It was nuts. And then she asked to go to the bathroom. Yeah, like, there was no teacher, by the way. She asked the subscriber if she could go to the bathroom. Like, what? Why are you asking her? Just go. Like, what the fuck? So, obviously, she's confused as hell. And then Margaret goes to the bathroom. And then she came back, and the most nose-clenching, wet, stanky-ass, musty smell hit the subscriber. This girl a 15-year-old shat her pants in class, even though she just went to the bathroom. That is crazy. Like, what the fuck? How do you let that happen? Like, I don't want to. You were just in the bathroom. Like, what the fuck? And everybody noticed and they were like, yo, what the hell is that smell, bro? And you know how to just end off a year with a bang. Like, you know, at this point, they were getting close to finals. So at this point, something bad had happened at the school. I don't really want to say exactly what it is. But anyways, this girl decided to fake like a panic attack or like a mental illness in class, whilst one of her friends was like actually like really scared. That's how you do it right there. That's how you end off the school year with a bang. That's how you make everybody think you're normal, bro. That right there. Faking a disorder in class. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, this girl is really just out to get herself at this point. Like, she's just throwing her social life out the window. Anyways, the next story is about the subscriber's third year of high school. And during the first few years, she wasn't a very social person. She had like about 3 or 5 friends like in her friend group. And to be honest with you, that's kind of all you really need. So after they started, someone new joined their class. And now we're going to call this dude Tony. Now, unlike other people who had joined this school, he was a decent dude, you know? He was popular in like no time. A lot of girls found him attractive. And the subscriber had a huge crush on him at the time. And so did like loads of people like in her. He was in half of her classes and sat near her in quite a few of them. And fast forward a few weeks, her and Tony started talking a bit. Obviously, it was a bit awkward at times, but she didn't really know much about him, so that's just to be expected. And they got close enough to the point where, like, they were around each other a lot. They ate lunch together, and she fell for him even more. And now, not longer after they got quite close, he'd asked if she could be his girlfriend, and she said yes, which was a huge mistake. They went on dates, watched movies, slept at each other's houses, you know, just what teen couples usually do. Now, she had this one friend called Sophia, and the one thing to know about this girl, Sophia, right? Like, she was friends with everybody, and she knew absolutely everything about everybody. She was the go-to person for drama at this school. Once she heard that her and Tony were dating, she went crazy. They got into a bit of an argument, and it ended off in her like storming off in a huff, all right? Like, she was heated. And she was like, all right, I didn't expect all that. I didn't expect her to have that kind of reaction to it. I knew she was gonna find out eventually. I mean, Jesus, she's practically stalking everybody in the school, bro. Like, damn. Another week or so passes, and everything is just completely normal until her friend Hannah sent a snap, which read, hey, sorry to break it to you, but your boyfriend has been cheating on you with Sophia. Check his private story. And of course, she was devastated. And she was like, shit, I'm like not even on his private story. What the hell? He had put all his close friends and who their partners were, which included Hannah, but she did not put her for some reason. And obviously it was probably to hide the fact that he was cheating with Sophia. I just couldn't believe it because, like, I don't know, she was like really head over heels for this dude, and she had just convinced herself that it was a bad lie. They date for another like 2 or so weeks, and then she got a message, but from this time it was from one of his friends, Darren. Subscriber, are you dating Tony still? If so, you got some problems. He's been hooking up with somebody else. With a picture of his private story showing Tony and this girl together, like on the beach, like during the sundown. You know, quite the romantic spot for friends to be hanging out. At this point, yeah, she finally was convinced that, you know, he was cheating, of course, because, like, that is just crazy. At this point, she confronted him, and when he was confronted, he was like, no, he was just denying it over and over again, but obviously, he had been caught, but then she was thinking, I don't know, maybe he is right, maybe they're just friends, and this was all a big misunderstanding. Until she added Darren on Discord, and he added her to a group chat with Tony and all of his friends. And then she was just told, just go up to the past messages. And she was absolutely mortified. Like, some of the channels were like weird-ass roleplay chats and shit like that. Truth or Dare chat, like, it was crazy. Like, this dude was really chatting it up with a bunch of other girls in this friend group. And then Tony wrote he enjoyed dating other girls at the same time. And he also admitted to, like, cheating on her with somebody he met in Roblox voice chat. Yes, Roblox voice chat. That is fucking crazy. and that they'd been talking for like the past few weeks, sharing inappropriate texts and basically the whole shebang. It was just disgusting to read. Obviously, she met him at school the following Monday, confronted him with a few of her other friends, and he just kept denying it over and over again, even though she had so much proof. And she just decided, all right, enough's enough. I'm just gonna break up with him. And that's exactly what she did. And to this day, bro is still going from girl to girl. You're never gonna be happy that way. Like, one night by night, he's switching already. Like, that is crazy. It was horrific how disgusting this dude was. Comment disgusting if you made this far into the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.